We be live.
Hello, hello.
Hi. Do we have questions already in the live chat? No? Okay, no? We're gonna
That
leave
means that
them.
I get to ask you questions. And I'm
No.
excited because
We're getting a lot of we're
I
getting a
have
lot
really
of
good questions.
you have a good question?
I have
Okay.
multiple good questions.
Okay. We have a lot of like love messages and hearts and
That's
hi
right.
and like yeah, we have that, but that's useless, guys. Like all your love messages.
Oh,
we need
wow.
we
Actually, no,
need
what we need is
questions.
good questions.
Yes, yes.
I don't
Look
want
at
your
all these
love.
people telling us that they love us and they miss us and they can't wait to talk to us. Useless. Useless. What are the questions?
I'm starting to think I'm also the reason why we don't grow. No, I'm quitting. Yeah, exactly.
Subs. Oh, too much. Again, Blank is like too much pressure. Yes, not only we want questions. If you send us a question and it's not a good question, instead of answering it, we're gonna spend time humiliating you
No, that's
for
not
how bad your
true.
question is.
That's not true.
So you better make it good. No pressure.
Oh my God. Okay, well, I want to start with my questions to you, Armin, and
We
they're
are
very
so
good
good to our
questions.
community. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're
Good.
so good. um, so my
Okay.
question is, we haven't talked about the third Iranian presidential debate on this channel.
Well,
And
didn't you see my calendar? We have an entire live stream dedicated to that coming. So, but yeah, go on.
but then we're gonna have to cover the fact that the
Who's the
president
new
has already been
president?
selected. Yeah,
Yes,
so
yes.
like let's talk about it before we know, you know? Fatima is always like this.
Oh my god. This is okay.
um, so I would like to hear your impressions, highlights from the third presidential debate. Analysts that I've heard say that there was more talk about like trying to appeal to minority populations in Iran in this debate.
I don't know if people are interested in that right now, but it was a bunch of empty promises. Main key issues, the taboo stuff was not touched, right? The sanctions weren't addressed. The shooting the airplane was not even mentioned. The killing of protesters by the government was not was addressed like really slightly. But these are like, and I don't know, like everybody made promises about we're going to do this, we're going to do that, but they didn't touch on the topics on where they're going to get the money. Obviously, the main sources of funding that are missing are being completely ignored. So it was like I mean, guys, I watched like 3 sets of debates in the Iranian elections. Each one of them was like 4 or 5 hours, and I had to watch that so I can, like, god damn it, man, that was like such bad, boring debates. They were so bad. And here's the thing: I have to watch it because I need to be able to comment on them, especially on Atheist Republic's Persian show. But I'm glad that most people didn't watch it. Like I think like less than 20% of the people in Iran watched them because they're like so done with all of this, right? So yeah.
Well, okay, so then my other question is, everyone's saying that Raisi is the shoe-in, like it's basically been picked. He was even complaining about it not being competitive, right? So what would be the most like shocking outcome of the election that is happening?
Okay,
tomorrow?
the current understanding is that it's obviously Racy who's going to win. That's the understanding. It's just so far ahead of everybody else. Like they just gifted. This is not an election. This is like what is it called? A coronation, right? Like this is not an election. Like referring to this as an election is a mistake. Okay. So what people are looking for now is not who's going to win, because that's already been predetermined. What people are going to look right now, what everybody's looking to see is the turnout rate. That's what people are, because this election is not an election on who's going to become president. This is an election on the legitimacy of the Islamic Republic of Iran.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So
That goes to
basically,
the
the
next
turnout, yes, the turnout rate, basically everybody, both the enemies and the supporters of the Islamic Republic of Iran, are seeing a vote to any candidate as yes to Islamic Republic of Iran, and people not turning out, because this is a referendum that the Iranian people have been asking for and never get. So they're turning the elections into a referendum, right? So by not voting, they're voting, and not voting is a no vote to the Islamic Republic of Iran, right? So now people are like, so anything above 50% is a major win right now for the Islamic Republic of Iran. The lowest turnout rate the Islamic Republic of Iran has ever had was 50%. Usually it's around like 70%, 60%, 70%. Like when times, this is pretty high relative to other countries. That's pretty high, right? And they always use that as a sign to show that the Islamic Republic of Iran has legitimacy. People choose it. If the people didn't want the Islamic Republic, they wouldn't be taking part in the election. And that's the narrative that they themselves have been saying to the whole world for many years.
Yes.
So now with the same narrative, that might come and bite them in the ass, because now, well, like, based on your own metrics, if people don't come out and vote, that means it's a no to the Islamic, your authority, your legitimacy is now being questioned, right? So if it's above 50%, it's a major win for the Islamic Republic of Iran. It's a major loss for the people who are against the government, right? If it's 40%, it's kind of like, yeah, it's a loss. It's a loss, like, but because of the pandemic and everything, you could come up with ways to be like, the government could be like, well, I mean, come on, yeah, like,
use it as a cover.
Yeah, like, it's not like
even though there's been an international call for boycott.
Yeah, like, we expected this. Like, both, if it's at 40%, both the Islamic Republic can save face, and the people who are against the regime will also be like, oh yeah, this was an all-time low. This was a major L for the Islamic Republic. So both sides will come out, and it wouldn't be a major loss for the Islamic Republic. They will have like their own narratives to spin. Okay, if it's 30% though, if it's 30% or anything below, not only this will be covered, like, this should get worldwide coverage. This would be like going from a country that usually expects 70% turnout rate to all of a sudden something below 30%. This is like a major signal to the world that the Iranian people do not want this government, right? It would be the most efficient way to finally, because, we have polls, we have studies, people don't trust them, people don't accept them, but some of them are good, some of them are bad. This would be the greatest signal. Like, people are like, I really like Armin is biased, or like, this guy is biased for the Islamic Republic, this content creator is biased against it. Are people in Iran really unhappy with the government? Like, who can we trust? We don't know, right? This would be that giant bat signal in the sky, SOS, we're taken hostage here. Like, anything under 30% will be that. Like, we have given up. Like, we don't, hardliners, reformists, all of them are the same. The people don't want this regime. Everything, we're not looking for reformers to save us from the hardliner. They're all crap. We have given up. We don't want this regime. This regime, like, the Iranian government would have no excuse going and telling people that we represent Iranian people. Like, that line of argumentation, like, oh, we are a representative of these people. How dare you say like this about the Iranian people? We represent them. That will be questioned always, everywhere, in all negotiations. It will, and for people who think that doesn't bring the legitimacy of the Islamic Republic down and make negotiations around the world for them a lot more difficult, they don't understand how international politics work. This would be a major blow and this is why they're panicking. This is why Khamenei is also panicking. He came out and they're actually coming out and saying it's a major sin. Like not just a sin not to
I
vote.
heard that it was they did he do make a ruling, like an actual
Yep. No,
fatwa
he
that
like no,
it's
not a
religious
fatwa.
obligation?
No, he said like according to credible sources, this could be considered a major. Like he's like, I think he was referring to other people's rulings, other Majas in Shia Islam. Like I don't know, maybe he thought it would be too much if he said it himself. Like he said, like credible sources consider this to be not as like I don't. When we say major sin, like this is not like it's not just like common English where you say like this is sin, oh, and it's a major sin, so it means a more sin. No, that's like a technical word, like gonah kabir. Like it's not like oh, it's a bad sin. No, this is like a specific wording for certain kinds of sins that they use. Like a major sin is like a big deal, right? In their ideology, right? So they didn't just call it a sin; they considered it to be a major sin not to vote. And Khamenei just came out in a speech like less than 24 hours ago, I think, and he said like he doubled down. Like I don't know, this seems like idiotic. He said like if people don't vote, this will seriously question the legitimacy of Islamic Republic of Iran. He said that, and I was like, why are you saying that? Like this is like, well, thank you for signaling, like telling everybody, like people are like, okay, great. Like, okay, thank you for telling us. You're like, here, this is our weak spot. Like he came out and said it. Like why? Like why is he signaling to the world that this is how you defeat us? I don't understand the logic behind that strategy. Like, oh yeah, people, you must come vote, because if you don't vote, our legitimacy will be completely, shaky now. Like, okay, then people, you heard them, don't go vote, right? Like, great.
They're like, cool, thank you for solidifying my choice to
But
boycott.
why is he saying that before the elections?
Mhm.
Especially given with all the polling, he must think that like. I think like he lives in an environment where he thinks that his concern mobilizes Iranian people. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of people are like, my rabbi is saying this is a major concern. like I'm pretty sure there are like at least 10 million people like that in Iran. They're like, yeah, this is like now my religious duty to go vote because Khamenei said so. But that's just 10 million out of like 80, right? So what does he think is going to happen? Because when he's signaling, like he thinks like he's a major source of, I think he overestimates, like I think the people who are against Khamenei underestimate his influence. They think like, oh yeah, 99.9% of Iranians don't like Khamenei. Like, yeah, sure, buddy, right? But like a lot of people underestimate Khamenei's influence, but I think Khamenei also overestimates his influence, So it goes both ways, right? Yeah, that was a good coverage of this, but we need to go to Q&A. We have now.
I have more questions I could ask you.
Yeah, we could get to that in a dedicated Q&A to the elections. We will get back to this, but
do we have any questions on Patreon?
No, because I forgot to post this on Patreon. Next step.
Oh, cool.
Guys, we were supposed to let the patrons ask their questions we give the patrons priority questions. I forgot to post this ahead of time on Patreon, asking people for their priority questions. And next Q&A.
People who can't be here live.
For people who can't be here live, next time I'll do that. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Here.
Blank name is seen. What do you think the offerings should do when the parents, I think you mean
offsprings.
What do you think the offspring should do when the parents hold views that are bigoted and anti-Semitic, but the same person, if they see someone in pain, they'll probably help them? Oh, so you mean that they have like bigoted views, but they are still like someone who would help someone in need. Like they're not completely bad people. They just have some bad views. And they're your parents. It's really tough. Oh, that's hard. Maybe try to, I don't know. It depends on your situation. If you're financially independent, if you're a minor, if you're an adult. But if you were an adult and didn't need to depend on them for things, I would maybe just ask them questions and about why they believe that. Armin, what do you think?
I think it really, really depends, and depends on many things. Okay, there is no answer to this. Depends on what's your goal, what kind of people they are, how receptive they are to criticism, and what's your environment, what are the consequences of your relationship with your family if you challenge them on their views. Okay, do you live with them? Are you independent from them? Like, there is no answer to this. It really depends on many different factors, right? I do suggest, however, for you to define your goals and also understand the costs associated with it. There are sometimes the answers is like many situations I found, like when it comes to family member and people you live with, if the cost is a strain in relationships between you and your family, maybe you're focusing your activism on places that is not within your own household is better, and within your own household it is better to focus on maintaining a loving relationship, unless these people are showing very seem to be very receptive. I think like you creating an environment for you where you live, creating in an environment where there's not that much hostility is more important than making your own household the place where you do activism. There are many other places where you could direct your attention to that doesn't, if things go wrong, it wouldn't, the negative effects of it wouldn't, you wouldn't feel it right where you sleep and eat and hang out. Okay, so that's my suggestion. I'm not, that's my suggestion to consider. It might not be for you, that might not be the best solution. Okay, just one thing to consider, right? But it really depends. Should I go to the next question? Is that good? Okay. Ghost Bunny is asking, are there smaller activist channels that you support that you feel could be supported more?
That's a good question. Activists? There's does Apostate Aladdin have a YouTube channel? He is on Twitter. He's really good. Wait, let me look it up. There's someone I want to follow on Instagram.
Well, I could tell you.
So on Instagram, they go by Leaving Islam, but they started a new channel called Secular Spirit, and Leaving Islam on Instagram, or Secular Spirit on YouTube, I think is an awesome smaller activist, because they focus a lot on telling other people's stories of how they left. There's also Infidel Noodle. She recently got a YouTube channel. She's actually pretty big on TikTok, one of like the bigger ex-Muslim atheists on TikTok. And I haven't watched a lot of her content on YouTube though. But I generally like what she does. And also the Friendly Ex-Muslim, because Abdullah Samir does good work and he needs to build back up his channel.
So. Yes. But when you say smaller activist channels, I don't know. I consider anybody who's informing people to be somewhat an activist, I guess, right? So I would want to suggest the More Freedom, more short for more, because the YouTube name wouldn't allow it. But the More Freedom Foundation is a channel with political views, international political views that I very much disagree with, but I appreciate.
He's certainly very intelligent in articulating his views. I was watching him earlier today and thinking about like how I think more people should be aware of him.
See, I like the kind of so here's what I try to do is I try to get a lot of information from many different sources, right? And then come here and then be accessible to people that don't have the time to look at things, that don't have the same amount of time to look into things as much as I have, and make myself available to them, right? That's what I try to do with these Q&As. And I like other channels who do that for me, right? So for example, More Freedom Foundation is a channel that reads a lot. He reads a lot. So me just watching his videos, basically I'm getting a lot the fruit of all his labor from all his readings, right? Another channel that I very much suggest is Religion for Breakfast. It's a very, very good channel, right? That's another
Definitely.
person who reads and researches a lot, and I just get to sit there and get hours worth of his work in just on double speed in minutes. So that's another channel
Wait.
that I like. Yeah, and
Who is the guy who did that
I was gonna
playlist that you sent me? What's his name? Let's Talk Religion.
Yes, exactly.
He's
Another
really
channel.
good.
Let's
So
Talk
good.
Religion is fantastic. And another person that knows his stuff.
For real. I learned
Yeah.
so
Oh
much
wait,
about
by the way,
it.
guys, it seems like it seems like I'm only suggesting white guys. Holy crap! Like, go come up with a conclusion based on that.
I was more diverse.
Oh, you're diverse. Congratulations. Here's a
Mhm.
sticker. Wait, what's this other guy? A Jewish guy. God damn it! What is his name?
Esoterica?
Yes, why are you so good at these things? Esoterica. Oh my god, this is such a. Where is it? Is that the name of the channel?
If it's not, it's very
Oh
close.
yes, no, Esoterica is fantastic. Yes, that's a fantastic. Oh my god,
I know what you watch more than you do.
Yes, Esoterica is a fantastic channel. It's so. I have to I listen to most channels on double speed with no problem. Not often having to stop and rewind. Esoterica, I'm like, God, I have to get like what?
Let me set aside an hour.
I was like, this is so much nuance.
He does. He's true to his name. It is very esoteric.
Guys, like, so when I listen to like these channels, like Let's Talk Religion, Esoterica, Religion for Breakfast, I'm like, what's the point of like universities? Like, I'll have the best teachers of all time accessible to me while I'm on my spinning bike. Like, this is fantastic. Anyways, like, it's so great. It's so great. Like, yeah. These, and it's all free. It's all free. It's unbelievable. We're so spoiled. We are so spoiled.
It's insane.
Yeah. Okay.
Mega Atheist has like 4 questions for us.
Mm-hmm.
Question 1. I'm assuming you're asking our opinion on these things. Biden's performance at G7, Trudeau's performance at G7, Putin's comments, and Joe Stewart on the Colbert Show. Jon Stewart. Oh my God. So in terms of these questions, I only watched Joe Biden's press conference following his meeting with Putin. So that's the only thing I have familiarity with. Armin, do you have responses to these questions?
Okay, so I must admit, I saw on my feed the video of Trudeau's, like people covering Trudeau's coverage at G7, and I skipped it because I had more things to cover today, and I was like, I had to do a cost-benefit analysis, so I don't know Trudeau's performance at the G7. Honestly, Biden, guys, I think Biden seemed to me good. Like, I'm trying to find, like, he seemed like, especially when it comes to with Putin, he seemed like he came up with a good balance. Like, guys, the things that you could blame Biden on is him not being able to form sentences properly, but that's because of but that's like, I mean, he's an old man. He used to be such a good speaker, right? Like,
he still is.
But like, yeah, like he's gonna forget words. He's gonna have problems finishing some sentences. I mean, he's an old man, right? It's not we can know that this is a man that was really good at debating, really good at coming up with the best phrases, and he's skilled in that. He was skilled in that area. So anything that people are laughing at right now when it comes to him forgetting words or not remembering how he started a sentence, you're basically making fun of his old age, right? So when it comes to his positions, though, once you understand, like, if you could get over the way he's speaking and actually trying to understand, like pay attention to what he's saying and the position he's taking, he seems to be been able to come up with the right balance when it comes to Russia. At least, like, this is the major thing when it comes to G7. It was the main thing that was highlighted was the relationship between the way that Biden was talking about Russia, and eventually, and also after they met, the things that they said to each other. And it seemed like the balance between, listen, we don't have to be enemies always. There are areas where we could work with each other, right? We don't see eye to eye, and we're not going to back down on our position. We're going to stand strong with regards to these areas. We're not going to like sugarcoat this, right? And you can see that, like, you would expect us not to back down. But while we have in these areas, we're going to fight with you in as less confrontational way as possible, but still aggressively standing our ground. That is not going to stop us for also being able to find common ground and work with you on these other areas, including, may I add, stopping Iran from ever acquiring nuclear weapons, which they agreed on. I'm happy to report, right? That seemed like yeah, I mean, that seemed like when it comes, okay, so with G7, it's not the actual policy execution of the policy, right? It was the gesturing, it was the PR, it was the tone, it was like, that's the point of the G7 and all of that. And in that area, I honestly give Biden A out of A, like A out of A, now 80 out of 100, like A plus. A plus is 80. A plus is
A plus is like 95.
Yeah, I don't know. 95? Okay, I give him an A. What's 80? A minus?
I think A minus would be like 85 to 90.
Okay, I give him an A minus.
Okay.
What the things that seem to be very good, like when it comes to the other things on G7, is seems to be like the whole idea of United States is back, baby. International relationships are the norm, and we collaboration and standing up to China. Like, that was like, yeah, we're in. Finally, we have someone sane that we could work with. Not perfect, but somebody that is workable with. Guys, as you know, you could be Trump and be like, China bad, China bad, China bad. And like, yeah, well, you are, with the relationship you have with the rest of the world, it's really hard to push back against China. You could just it's just talk, right? Like, you could have a less aggressive tone against China, but actually be more effective against China's international violations of the norms when you have a united front. And the world, like the civilized world, like the, North American and Western European countries, will have a more united front with Biden in power than someone like Trump, right? So that was fantastic to see that everybody was like, and again, I know people think rhetoric doesn't matter, but it does. It does set the stage. Hold on, let me tell the people. Okay. So it really does matter. Like, rhetoric sets the stages for policies, right? So some people would say like Biden's emphasis on human rights is just talk and no action, but being able to at least setting the stage for policies that are more focused on respecting human rights on an international level is an important first step. And the fact that Biden is making that a priority, we could criticize him not following up on it later, but it is a first step that is needed. Like, this is a welcome first step to say that your administration is making human rights a priority. Okay, I know it's not everything. I know that we could criticize the administration later for not doing this there, not doing that there, but at least saying it, like, it's better than administrations that are like it's much better than administration that make it even obvious that they don't even care about human rights, right? So that's that. Anything else that we missed? I don't know anything about the whole Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert show. Like, I don't know. I don't know what's happening there.
TV?
No, I mean, yeah. I mean, I used to follow Stephen Colbert, but now I don't.
There's a good question from Bjorn. Bjorn is asking, why do you think some of the countries in Europe are regressing, considering Poland's near total ban on abortion and Hungary's recent anti-LGBT law? This is a very good question. I don't have a very good answer for this, except that the Council of Europe, the Secretary General, released their annual report very recently, and this report talks about how democracy in general is in the decline in Europe. So it might be part of an overall trend.
Yeah, I mean, Poland and Hungary are like the odd ones out, and well, from the bigger ones, like from the ones that are. There's some other small ones that are also horrible, but I don't know. I mean, how big of a trend is this? Like, I think is it naive of me to be optimistic longer term? Like, there are some heavy pushbacks in these countries for better rights. Like, they're not taking this lying down, right? And I think like when we make so much progress globally, it's hard to miss the fact that we have made so much progress when we have defeats like this, right? I'm honestly like, I think even in these countries like Poland and Hungary, longer term, I'm optimistic. Am I being naive here?
Not necessarily. I mean, over the long arc of history, things are getting better. I think it might just be a general, we see this all over the world, like a push towards tradition, to reject like modernity. Something, well, I think I'm going to talk about in the next question is like a backlash to quickly shifting attitudes. They're like, this is too much change too quickly. We're progressing too quickly, and there's this backlash. Just a thought, speculation.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, I need to be. I know when I was in Poland, I saw how much religion has a hold on politics in Poland. But the thing is, like, the younger generation seem to be in all these countries to be like more frustrated with it, right? It's hard for me to imagine how these kind of thinking is going to maintain its control over politics as the younger generation replaces the older one. Like, I don't think like it's sustainable for these ways of thinking. I think overall I'm optimistic. Anyways, next question. You could pick the next question.
Next question from Music Guy, Armin and Susie. Why is it so popular to be anti-trans these days? Why are they so targeted? What made it popular to begin with? Well, I don't know if popular is the right way to put it. Like, do you think it actually there's like social reward in being anti-trans, like even in sub communities? Like, it's common. But I have another theory about this. What do you think?
I think you guys are missing how much progress we're making. True. Like, I these days, when has it, like, you mean always? Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, well, I'm not talking about going back to ancient history or stuff. Like, but in the past, like at least within the past few generations, like, this is not, were they like accepted before? When was this time that you guys, like the time that you guys are speaking of, that these were like accepted in society and I wasn't aware of? I think like we're making progress here. Okay, like, I'm not, obviously it's still easy to be anti-trans because they're such a low percentage of the population and they rely on the rest of us to defend them, right? So here's the thing. You can see the order of rights and acceptance and normalization, right? Women rights took the lead You know why? Because they're half of the population, okay? So them by itself standing for their rights, even though a lot of them didn't, but just getting close of the population, saying to the other half, like, yeah, I give no, like, we want more rights, thank you very much. Like, it's a big force to reckon with. You can't like really stop that. It's hard to deny half of the population their rights, okay? So they took the lead, right? Then, like, if you go based on my hypothesis that it was in the same order of percentage of population, gay people were less of a percentage of population compared to just women, and they came next. It was harder to normalize that because they needed to rely on straight people more than women needed to rely on men, okay? Women did need men's support, but they needed it less because they were already half of the population. Gay people needed more straight support, okay, because they were lower percentage, okay? Now when we get to trans, now when it's the trans rights turn and trans normalization, they really can't do it without the rest of us, okay? They're like, what percentage of the population? Do you know, Suze?
That's a good question. Small.
Very low, right? So normalization of and fighting for the rights of trans people is more difficult because they themselves are not enough, right? Cis people, reliance and cis support is crucial. Okay, so that's why it's like, I think, behind on gay rights and women rights. But yeah, go on. You want to say something?
There was the estimates for the percentage of transgender adults in the United States is between 0.6% to maximum is 6.8%.
Right. And here's another thing, okay? If you're a conservative, okay, you need something to conserve, or else you're gonna not be conservative, right? You need to, like, your identity, your political ideology. Basically, this is conservatism. Things are changing and I don't like it. That's the whole summary of conservative philosophy, okay? You don't need to study anything on conservative ideology. This is it. This is summary. I don't like the changes. Make it stay the way it is. Go back. We're moving forward too fast. This is strange. This is a strange territory. I am uncomfortable. I'm scared. I don't recognize this new world. Okay, can we go back, please? That's the whole idea. This is conservatism. That's all that it is. Okay, so the thing is, if your entire political ideology and identity is like keep things the same, and then it becomes things that are already changed now, you don't have, like, you can't go and be like, you can't be like, conservatives can go like, can we have women just like barefoot and pregnant and just in the kitchen and just do nothing else and shut up? Like, that's like, it's too late. Okay, you can't say that. Okay, and they were gay rights is also like, sorry guys, you lost. You're gonna look like the bigots that you are if you try to fight gay rights. Okay, so what's left? Like, oh, let's trans rights. Let's jump on these people. Let's attack these people now, right? Because those are too late. We're lost. So let's all just get united over attacking trans people now. Okay. So the problem with that is that that's like the battle that you have remaining, and there's a very few of these people, and the entire conservative ideology is now jumping on attacking a very small group of people. So trans people are feeling the heat a lot more than even gay people did, because there's the entire political ideologies of conservatives and very few trans people. So imagine feeling all that pressure. It's like, it's very tense, right? And it's hard to be trans. Go on. You want to say?
Well, I had an idea as well. It's kind of speculation. Like, so like the gay rights movement came off the back of the civil rights movement for racial discrimination. And the shift in attitudes we've seen towards gay people and gay rights over the past 50 years has been one of the fastest, like, just turnabouts in opinions we've seen in the US. Like, it's really substantial and it's really crazy. And then coming off the back of like marriage equality was really a huge milestone in the United States. Like that's when I feel like the transgender rights movement took it up to the next notch. Like that's when they really stepped in and it received a whole new push for this rights movement. And that's been like what, the past 5-6 years. And like I said a second ago, attitudes are changing so quickly. So for a certain type of person, that can turn into a real head spin for them. They're like, what? This thing that was not okay, like just a few years ago, is now suddenly like very important to care about, and they don't understand it. And there's a lot, especially if you're a conservative person, like always freaked out about cancel culture, like you might feel disincentivized towards learning more because you're worried about getting things wrong and then people like attacking you, whether or not the fear of that actually happening is like justified. So I think it's basically backlash towards attitudes changing so quickly. That's one possible factor, I think. Just people not understanding the movement. Let me find a new question. Shoot, I had one teed up. International Ball is saying, what is your relationship like with Apostate Prophet now? I haven't been keeping up. Well, we had him on our channel 2 days ago. So we talked about Armin's disagreements with the video Apostate Prophet made, and AP joined us for the end of that episode, and we're friends. So go check that out.
Why do people assume that we're not friends with people who we just have disagreements with? I don't know, get it. This is a major problem. Like,
I think maybe because you are so, when you're excited about disagreement, you're so hyped up about it, and people can, I think, maybe mistake that as like actual like tension. Because you're so into expressing why, because this is how you have fun. You're so into expressing why someone's wrong that they're like, oh my God, they're like actually going at him. Like,
so it's my fault. Okay.
Of course.
Well, I'm not going to change anything because it's too much fun. People are like, always like, Armin, calm down. Like, no, I like it. This is my natural state. What the hell? Like, stop tone policing me. Like, people are like, Armin, you're so angry. Like, I'm having so much fun. You have no like, come at me. Okay, all right. Next question.
We have a question from Dolly. I have a question. Is BLM working with Hamas, or do they have connections between each other? Is that true? So to my knowledge, the formal organization of BLM, which is an actual entity, does not have any relations, to my knowledge, with the entity known as Hamas.
No, I don't think so.
I think
anything is possible, but this like, hey guys, don't like flip this out, and if something comes out and we were in the wrong, like everything is possible. BLM could be working with aliens for all I know, right? But I don't think so.
I think what Dolly is trying to get at is like, maybe not the formal organization known as BLM, but there is a strong history of the Black liberation movement having an affinity for and working with the Palestinian liberation movement. Those do have intellectual and historical ties with each other. People in the Black liberation movement see a lot of comparisons and parallels between their experience and their persecution with the Palestinian cause. So I think that might be what you're talking about.
Yeah, that would be probably more accurate. But I'm almost sure, correct me if I'm wrong, that if the official entity, the institution, the organization that is BLM, if it had actual ties to I'm just going to say it. I don't know but YouTube doesn't care anymore. A terrorist group that is officially recognized by the United States as a terrorist group that is Hamas. I'm pretty sure if there was some connection, I don't know whose territory is it the FBI or is it the CIA? I think the FBI is an internal matter, right? I think the FBI would have something to say about that. I think they would get involved somehow. I don't know, but yeah, go on.
I know there was a big controversy that I think we covered on this channel last year about how the UK chapter of the official BLM organization put out a tweet where they condemned the annexation of the West Bank, called for sanctions on Israel, and condemned Zionism. So the UK organization is outwardly pro-Palestine.
Yeah, but guys, we have to define our terms. When you say Palestine and Hamas, they're completely different. Like, we're referring to different things. When we what are we referring to? People just use these terms interchangeably. Here's one thing I noticed, right? People's like, okay, Hamas is like what? Hamas is like based on the Muslim Brotherhood ideology, right? And then people like some organization in the United States might have some ties to some other Muslim Brotherhood organization, and people are like, okay, Muslim Brotherhood is Hamas. Muslim Brotherhood, these people are connected to Muslim Brotherhood, so these people, like, guys, Muslim Brotherhood in Gaza is completely different from Muslim Brotherhood in like Tunisia, right? Like, these are Muslim Brotherhood is like such a big giant umbrella term for ideological movement. Like, when you want to look for connections, it really depends on what you exactly mean by connection, because everybody is connected to Hamas. If you define the word connection loosely enough, guess what, Dolly? You're connected to Hamas. Like, everybody is connected to Hamas. Like, but it depends really what you mean by connection. Okay, so yeah, I mean, if you want to demonize a group, you could play with the way you talk about connections as to make anybody seem connected to anybody that you want, right? So yeah, but I will answer a different question. Are a lot of people on the left in general too sympathetic? Like, not the vast majority, okay, but are too many people on the left sympathetic to Hamas? Obviously unjustifiably. Yes, there's too much apologetics, too much excuse making for Hamas on the left. Again, I'm not saying the majority. I didn't say the vast majority, but a lot, and even a little bit of it is too much. But the left has a problem when it comes to sympathizing with Hamas,
especially the further left you get. I think some people, especially on the far left, have a bit blind spot, definitely, if not willful ignorance.
Yes, that is not, by the way, what I see as a connection, right? Defending, making arguments for, sympathizing with, that is horrible, and we call it out, okay? But that's not connections, okay? Anyways, at least not the way I see it, okay? All right,
this is just a funny comment from Gossam. F Biden, F Trudeau, F Queen Elizabeth. My vote goes to Dr. Ahmadinejad.
What vote? He wasn't approved for election, so
he said that he's not voting, Gossam. Come on.
Yeah, Gossam, why are you even voting? Dr. Ahmadinejad is not voting.
Didn't he give like a very foreboding reply to that? Like, he's not like. Yeah. He stands with the people who don't.
Well, people don't know what we're talking about, so okay. Let's go to the next.
Oh, this is a little bit of a deeper question. The Gaysian American is asking, what are your thoughts on the de facto / de jure deification of a historical figure? For example, the Lincoln Memorial built in the style of a temple to Jupiter in civic veneration. Very interesting.
I don't mind it as long as the faults of that person is not ignored.
Or like prosecuted, criminalized to point out.
Yes, exactly. Like, I don't mind I went to in Paris. I really enjoyed myself, what the statue of Voltaire. I wish it was like I'm like building like I wouldn't mind building a shrine like building dedicated to Enlightenment thinkers with their statues and their greatest quotes, followed up by their worst things that they said, just so that they do not become like, we don't act like these were flawless people. Like, I think you could celebrate people in that form, right? As long as you make an effort not to deny their flaws, because we humans, we enjoy beauty, temple like structures where we could celebrate. We have a need for that, right? We can't deny these kind of needs, right? We do want, like, we are physical creatures. Not everything can be celebrated within the bounds of our skulls, right? We want to see poetry dedicated to things that we celebrate, architecture, art in any form, statues, paintings, whatever. Like, we want that, right? We want to see something in the physical world dedicated to things that we celebrate and enjoy and see as role models, or see as the foundations or the genesis of the movement or civilizations that we belong to, right? Or the societies that we live in. These are the needs that we have, right? Though the issue with that is that sometimes if we do that, we might. I mean, this wasn't a problem even when it comes to Jupiter, right? I mean, Jupiter is who? Jupiter is Zeus. Zeus was a rapist. They didn't deny that, right? I mean, Zeus has stories like even the people who built temples to their gods, they didn't deny their faults. It was mostly the Abrahamics that came out and acted like, they started. I'm not endorsing, by the way, Greek religions. I'm just saying that we are capable of celebrating certain people or certain things without ignoring its faults, right? So one thing I do, like Voltaire is, like, when it comes to the Age of Enlightenment, the person that comes to mind more than anybody else is Voltaire, right? And we claim to be the champions, one of the cheerleaders of Enlightenment values. And yet, every time somebody asks me about Voltaire, the first thing I say is that he was an anti-Semite. He was extremely sexist against women. And he hated atheism. And this is the person that we celebrate. Okay? We don't deny those faults. And I still want statues of him built, and I still want him to be celebrated for the good things that he contributed to the world, right? The reason why we can fight against anti-Semitic views and sexist views is because of the world that Voltaire left for us, right? And the reason why we can promote atheism, even though Voltaire hated atheism, is because Voltaire wanted a world where he could promote atheism, even though he hated atheism, right? So there's that. Anyways, next.
Trailer 50 is asking, what are your thoughts on the Fulton versus Philadelphia decision today with the Supreme Court of America? We're actually going to be covering this on the news, not this week, but next week. We're definitely going to talk about this because this is a big deal. And also, I just need to learn more about this decision and its implications in the meanwhile. I will tell you, when this first was announced today, I was pissed. Oh my gosh. I messaged Rivka like I'm mad. So yeah, at that time we'll give the audience more of a background into the case as well. Chihaya is asking, have you guys been covering the Tigray genocide in Ethiopia? No. After we got our last strike on YouTube, like, we've made the decision that we have to focus very specifically on pretty exclusively religiously related matters. So I could be wrong. To my knowledge, there isn't a religious aspect to this. I've been following this a little bit. It seems like more of a civil war situation. I could be wrong. I know that a lot of the Tigray region is Christian.
We'll be mindful of it. You know, there is a lot of bad things that are happening all the time, and you know, we do try to cover things that give this channel at least some specific theme or focus, right? We're not going to be able to cover everything.
Yeah.
But thank you for bringing it more
as
to our
much
attention.
as I do just want to talk about geopolitics sometimes.
Yeah.
By
the way, we do cover a lot of things in Africa. Like a lot of people like, oh, Africa is always denied. No, like if there is like the news related to it has a religious angle to it, we have been covering Africa a lot, right? We have covered a lot of stories from Nigeria, Uganda, Kenya,
Mozambique.
Mozambique, yeah. So we don't ignore Africa.
There was, where did it go? Okay, I'm going to try my best to give this a proper Spanish accent. Actually, I'm going to embarrass myself. I'm not going to.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm not going to. No, I'm nervous. Okay, so in English, atheist epistemology is asking, how did Armin and Susanna meet? Good question. Would you like to answer that, Armin?
No, I want you to hear you say.
Oh. We met when I was interviewed for an episode of Secular Jihadists, which is a separate podcast that Armin does with author Ali Rizvi, focusing on geopolitics and ex-Muslim issues, following news in the Islamic world. Yeah, they had me on as a guest because I used to be like a kind of really militant, like leftist, and listening to their work changed my mind about a lot of things. So they invited me to come talk about it. And then after the end of the episode, because I watched Atheist Republic and I watched the news show that we do every week, I was like, oh, you guys don't have a Christian or an ex-Christian on your panel of atheists right now. So it's like, I can be the ex-Christian if you need me to. And you were like, yeah, that's what I asked. And then you were like,
I thought I reached out to you.
No, I asked.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then you're like, what did you say? You're like, I hope you're serious because I'm going to say yes right now. Like, so do you mean it? Because like, I'll say yes right now. I was like, yeah. And then
because
that's how
I was wishing that you were a like I get to hang out with you and you were a co-host with me halfway through the show, like less than an hour after we talked. I was like, I want this person to be my friend forever.
Aww.
And I want her to be my
I need more Susie.
I didn't know I need Susie in my life. But I need Susie. I don't know who this person is. I only met her for half an hour.
No, we talked for 2.5 hours.
No, but half an hour.
Oh, at that point.
Like, yeah, at that point I was right. Like, this person needs to be my friend forever.
Yeah, so if you guys want to listen to the first time me and Armin ever talked, you can find that on Secular Jihadists. If you search like Secular Jihadists, Susanna, Antifa, you can hear a lot more about my backstory. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. Susanna is a Mohammed hijab plant.
IRGC
plant. Thank you.
Yes, don't sell it short.
Identified my true origins. I
told her. I have told Susanna so many times that she is too perfect. Like I sometimes like, there's no way somebody is this good. Like this is like a, I don't know, a trick. This is like a plant. Like the IRGC has genetically engineered and trained somebody specifically so that I get, yeah,
to take down this organization.
yeah. I was almost convinced of it. Every day I was like, yeah, this is too good. This cannot be by this. This is all by design.
What if one day, like we were talking, and I just switched out of nowhere to speaking fluent Farsi?
Ooh, I would like, you know what I would say? I like, I knew it. I knew it that this is all a plan, but I'm not complaining. It was worth it. Thank you, IRGC. Oh my goodness.
How freaked out. Oh, thank you. I would, oh my gosh, I wish that could happen. I want to see your face.
I knew it. I knew it. But
I knew it.
It's still worth it. It was so good. Yeah. Can we like just pretend like it's all like just continue? Anyways. All right, next question.
Well, we're actually past an hour right now.
Can you just make two more questions? Just two more.
Okay, this is something I'm not familiar with. Armin, have you seen the hundreds of buses that are coming into Iran from Iraq so that they can fill up the election queues? What are your thoughts on this? Is this an accusation of election tampering? Is this a conspiracy?
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. There's going to be like okay. So Danishmand, that's this person's name. It's going to be really hard for the next few days to separate conspiracy from what's actually happening. Okay. Especially because both sides are very going to be active. Okay. Unfortunately, in Iran, there's going to be a lot of fake conspiracy theories about what the government is doing. However, the problem is that the government actually also does a lot of things like that seems like conspiracy theories. Like, so because there's a huge active force of conspiracy theorists in Iran, and also the government actions genuinely seems like movie, like out of this world stuff that no government would do. Like, if you didn't know this government, you think like this can't be real. It's going to, like, everything I hear for next week, I'm gonna be like, I don't know, possibly it could like it could be true, it could be completely true, and it could be completely made up as well, right? There's going to be, and proving what's happening is also very difficult because all sides are going to be extremely motivated to sell their narrative. So until I actually see legitimate sources confirming things, I'm going to be like, I don't know. Is it possible? Obviously. Like, this whole filling people with buses, like, this regime does that a lot, to fill in the streets, the protests, making numbers look higher. So, but just because it's within the actions that this government is capable of taking doesn't mean it's not. Okay, so here's the thing. Obviously, let's look at this theory, okay? What would be the point of this? Because these are people who are not Iranian citizens who can't actually vote.
Inflate the numbers of the election to give it legitimacy.
But they can't actually vote, so they can't inflate the numbers unless the government is planning to come up with fake numbers, right? So the government might actually come out with a report of 45, like not something crazy, so that is unbelievable. Like, if the number comes out and said like, oh yeah, there was 70% participation rate, people are like, yeah, people are like, sure, buddy, sure, right? So, like, but what if the number is like 20% and the government wants to make it like 40%, right? Is this government the type of government that would do that? Yes, absolutely. Okay. Are they going to be able to do that this time, getting away with it? Because it's really harder now to mess with numbers compared to before, because there's too many more leaks, too many more ways of verifying numbers. It's harder to make up numbers compared to like before. Are they actually going to try it? I don't know. If they're going to try it, like, some people could see like, but here's the thing, this is such a stupid conspiracy by this government if they do this, because it's so easy to see this, you know what I mean? Like, are they like how are they going to bring buses of people from other places and hide it? Like, this seems like a dumb strategy. And this government, as much as evil as they are, they're sometimes like not this dumb. I mean, there are some parts of this government that does some crazy, stupid, dumb stuff all the time, but the center, the main people in power, are often not this dumb. So I don't know. Like, it's really hard to tell. I have to see more verifiable information. But go on.
Well, okay, so I don't know about like the processes or qualifications for voting in Iran. Like, is it possible that these are Iranian citizens living in Iraq that they're like bringing into the nation to vote? Like,
no, there's not. Okay, yeah, but that's not going to be. That's not even.
Because if you're a U.S. citizen, you can vote from abroad. Like, I don't know.
No, yeah, but so can Iranians. They have. Okay. They have right. Okay, here's an interesting thing. Right now, United States is being more cooperative with Iran when it comes to foreign votes than Canada. Canada is not cooperating. So it's very interesting because United States and Iran have a more strained relationship than Canada, but Canada is like, screw you. Canada is like really telling Iran to like, no, we're not cooperating when it comes to. But yeah, Khamenei was actually telling people that there's no it was very raising an alarm about not some Iranians outside of Iran not being able to vote. He wanted to make sure that they all have access to vote. They're very desperate for the vote. So yeah, but they do make it like like every single what is it called, embassy around the world, Iranian embassy around the world is like on red alert right now to make, because Khamenei has made it like, came out with a warning that Iranians outside of Iran should be able to vote everywhere, right? And now Iranians in Canada, the ones who want to vote, which I don't know why they would want to vote, it seems like a lot of them might have to go to the United States if they want to vote. So that's going to be tough.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So, because one of my first thoughts when this question came up was like, what if these are actually citizens who can vote?
No, but the thing is that the Iraqi government is very cooperate. Like, okay, so this can't be that, because Iraqi government cooperates with Iran when it comes to Iranians voting in Iraq, right? If this is a true conspiracy, I'm assuming that people they're just like trying to fill the lines so that if the turnout, if they inflate the numbers and people say like these numbers doesn't match the lines, that's what they're trying to do. But this doesn't make any sense. This conspiracy doesn't make any sense, because if you're bringing buses of foreigners in the lines, you know how many activists on the streets are going to go talk to them and show that these are not Iranians because they don't even speak Persian. Like, it's going to be so obvious. Like, this is not a conspiracy. This can't be a plan that will work, right? Like, I mean, the Iranian government, they're not, I mean, they're evil, but they're not absolute morons. Like, how is this going to work? I don't understand it. Anyways, next question. Last question.
I actually need to pee, so I think maybe we should.
Okay, we should go. But again, I don't know. Okay, I'm not saying this is not true. I'm just claiming that I do not know. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you for your questions. Good questions. I'm pleased. I'm happy with you guys. You guys had good questions. You performed well. Me and Susanna, we obviously performed well. Obviously, we need to say that. But you guys were also kind of good. You guys had some. Yeah, interesting questions. As the level of questions, the quality of questions in this live chat are improving. You know, you guys used to suck a lot, but now you just suck a little.
No, you always have to end it in like a super negative note. Guys, make sure you tune into our news show in 2 days. We're going to be talking about lots of stuff this week, lots of good things, juicy things. So tune in 2 days, same time, talking about the news that happened in the last week. Subscribe to our newsletter if you would like to see some of the sexiest blasphemous art available on the internet for free. So link in the description. We are doing a depiction of Allah that will be coming out very soon.
Yes.
So if you want to know what Allah really looks like, okay, be sure to tune in. And we recently did our first blasphemy against the Jewish faith, against Judaism recently. Have you sent out that email yet with the art of Moses?
I think so. I think I did.
Okay. Yeah. So if you are subscribed to our newsletter, we continue to send out new blasphemous art. So you should have just received the sexy Moses. It was fantastic.
Okay. I haven't told you this, by the way. I'm just going to tell you very quick. I just discovered something recently, which might be true, which might or not be true. Okay. And I think we should like work with it. I don't know how, but we have to somehow implement it into our art. I think this is going to be a great idea. Okay. You know, like Iran's atomic energy stuff, right? They're enriching.
In Natanz, yeah.
Yes, you know, well, I mean, other places as well.
Yeah.
But they're enriching uranium. Okay. Guys, I don't know if this is true. Okay. But I have to double check. But uranium comes from the god Uranus. Are you not? No, like, wait, what? This is pretty cool. I like that. I like the force of the Sky Father God. Okay, maybe we should say Uranus. So for
No,
people
Uranus is the sea.
no, Gaia,
Neptune is the sea.
No, this is before the Titans. We're talking Gaia and Uranus. Gaia
Right.
and Uranus. Yes, the Titans come after with Cronus, right? This is just the two main guys. The Sky Father. This is Sky Father, okay? And the I don't know, the idea of Cronus like cutting Uranus's dick and him being the force behind the power that is within uranium. Uranium comes from Uranus. And that being the thing that is about nuclear energy in Iran, like enriching uranium. I think there's something there that we could work with in presenting this whole situation with, you know, the atomic bomb, Uranus's penis being cut off by Cronus.
Oh my God.
I don't know who we could. Who would be Cronus? Maybe Mossad could be Cronus. You know, Uranus could be Iran. I don't know, something. Yeah, something. But this is I don't know. This
I'm so childish that this is a difficult art for me.
Yeah, subscribe to the newsletter, guys. Let me know what you think about this idea.
Ain't anyone ever seen Allah?
Yes,
certainly not as sexy as we do it.
Yes. Well,
I don't even think we can say this.
Oh, I knew this is gonna come. This is why we should refer to Uranus as Uranus. So to avoid the situations like this, I don't know. Anyways, guys, talk to you guys later. I don't love you, but I like you very much. Again, being honest with you, do not look for streamers. Do not look for love in streamers. Do not trust streamers who tell you that they love you, all of them. They don't even know you, and they're telling you that they love all of you, and they don't even know you. Do not trust them. Come here, subscribe to Atheist Republic, because we tell you the truth. We say we like you very much, and we appreciate your time.
Your support.
We appreciate your support, and we're not even your support, your time. You're just being here, even if you don't support us. We appreciate your time. We like you. We like the time that you spend with us here, but we do not love you. And you have a serious problem if you're looking at streams as a source of love. Okay, you have issues. Go see a professional.
Make sure to like the video, though.
Yes, like the video. Bye.